Hello, thank you for tuning in today. My name is Gavin and I am the audiophile wannabe. Today is our second episode, and on today's video we're continuing our conversation on upgrading the Klipsch Forte 1s from the previous video. In the last video we looked at the dampening of the Fortes as a benefit and discussed the differences in how they sounded. When trying to understand the subtleties upgrades and modifications can make, it's nice when possible to be able to measure the before and after differences these modifications can make. And seeing the results on paper can help us to better understand the impact and benefit from one modification to the next. Today, we're primarily going to review two different sets of data taken from the dampening of the Klipsch Fortes. One data set is Room EQ Wizard's Waterfall analysis, and the second are the results from an iPhone vibration analysis app. So we'll look at those charts, and we'll also look at how AI interprets the results. I think you'll find these results interesting. Before we get to looking at those data sets, there's a few photographs I wanted to show you guys before we get to that data that I forgot to show in the previous video. So, I talked about dampening an awful lot, and these are the horns. I just wanted to show the Klipsch mid-range horn before and after dampening. So as you can see here, the horn has been separated from the magnet. Just want to say that getting these particular these horns out of these particular speakers were not very easy. The magnets are wider than the slot going into the cabinet, so the magnets had to be removed inside the cabinet before the horn could be extracted. So getting them extracted and then put back into the cabinet was somewhat tricky, especially putting the back end, trying to make sure that the diaphragms were where they need to be between the horn and the magnet. So I wanted to show you that, but that's what the horn looks like before putting the dampening material on. And this is with the Neuco mat added. On some of the previous Klipsch horns that I had done this dampening to, I used the aluminum seal tape that you saw in the previous video, and with that tape I did pretty much cover the entire surface minus the lip that is adjacent to the cabinet itself. But the body of the horn, I pretty much would cover the entire surface, but this Neuco mat has got some weight to it, and I did not feel that it really needed that much matting to deaden the horn itself. And it wound up sounding great, so this worked out pretty good. And then secondly, I wanted to also show, well, if I can get it up here, there we go. The inside of the cabinet, I'm the third generation owner of these Fortes, and I think it was the first generation owner who actually did put some bracing inside these cabinets. So you can see here, and I apologize, I haven't learned how to use the cursor yet to be able to capture it to where I can point. So I'm just going off of describing here, but you can see the board that is going across from one side of the cabinet to the next that has some of the no res on it. That is the brace. So we're looking into the cabinet from this is a bird's eye view looking through the front woofer. You can see where the crossover is on the bottom side of the picture. There's the crossover, so that's the back side of the cabinet, and then you're looking at the bottom of the speaker in the far end of the cabinet. So that's the brace that goes across the bottom just below the woofer. And I wanted you to see that. I wanted you guys to be able to see that bracing, just because it was there. It was pretty neat. Danny had recommended that these cabinets could benefit from some bracing, and somebody apparently heard him quite some time ago before he even said it. But the Kreitz crossovers that I put in there, I actually installed on that flat surface of the bracing opposite the no res. So that's where the Kreitz crossover went. And just one more photo, a little bit better photo, so you can see the back side of that bracing. but wanted to share these photos with you since I forgot to put those in the last video. Before we get to looking at the data sets and analyzing those, I wanted to introduce you to the tools that we're going to be using today to capture the data. The first is Room EQ Wizard. This is a screenshot of their homepage. This is basically a free software you can download on the internet. This is just an acoustics measurement tool. You can measure a room. You can measure, in this case, the speakers themselves. This is one of the tools available to analyze sound measurements. This is an oscillator. Another screenshot from that website is a room simulator. They have a room simulator that you can use, and I haven't used any of the tools except for the last one that you'll see here in a minute, but this is a spectrogram. And so just having said that, I'm by no means proficient with this, but the one tool that I was looking for is this one right here, which is what they call Waterfall, can also be referred to as a spectral decay graph. The second tool that we're going to be looking at was one that was downloaded on my iPhone. I'll show you this one. This is what it looked like when you look it up. It's a vibration analysis tool. So basically it's just a vibration meter. Basically performs like a seismograph. This allows you to see that once the app is downloaded onto the phone, you can just set it down on a surface and it operates like a seismograph. It just begins recording data over time, and then you can stop it at some point and measure it. Okay, one other piece of equipment I need to show that goes hand in hand with the RU software we looked at a moment ago, Room EQ Wizard, is you need to have a microphone to be able to make that work. So you do need a microphone that can connect to the internet, download the software that makes it compatible with the Room EQ Wizard. But that is the Dayton Audio UMM6 measurement microphone. Really great mic. Been pleased with it. All right, well, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing and look at some of the data analysis. So we'll start off with the vibration tool that was on the phone. So this is the vibration meter's results before dampening. I just took the phone, set it on top of the speaker, and used the same tone pulse generator from the RU software that is used to generate what they measure for their spectral decay, and just use that here. So that ran for half a second, and this is what it produced. So we can look at that and see there are vibrations there stacked up in the middle. So what does it look like after the dampening? So you can see that after the dampening there's less vibration. I don't understand the technical terminology for how to speak to this, to be honest with you, but I think we can say with confidence that before there's vibration and after there's less. So that should be pretty visible. That's about the best way I know how to say that. Before and then after. So basically, just looking at these charts, we can tell that there's going to be less vibration in the cabinets, which means better bass response, more clarity, better tone overall. So we can see how the performance has improved thus far. So you can freeze this if you like and read it more fully. I'm just going to hit some highlights here, but in the second point, the after image, it does say that regarding the after image that the vibrations seem to decay more quickly, which is what we want to see, suggesting that the dampening material or technique, adding mass, foam, or bracing or whatever, effectively reduced resonance in the speaker cabinet. So that's good. That confirms what we've already discussed and what I've heard. And on the time scale, the third bullet point, again, apparently the second snip of the after was of a little bit longer time shot. And so this wound up working out good, because it does say in that third bullet point that the longer, because of the longer view, this extended view confirms the faster decay. So the oscillations are less pronounced and settle closer to the baseline sooner. But basically there, the longer time frame does confirm faster decay, which is good also. And then the overall effect, the dampening appears to have improved the speaker's control over unwanted vibrations, potentially leading to cleaner sound reproduction by reducing cabinet resonance. We're on the last leg of this analysis here, so we can pull up the results of the before results using the Room EQ wizard. If you're not familiar with these charts, basically what you're looking at is reading this from bottom to the top and then from the back forward to interpret this. So the numbers on the far left, going from the bottom to the top on the left, those are your decibels, and then going on the bottom from the bottom left to the bottom right, those are your frequency ranges. The left side of the photo, we can see that the most or the highest decibel level was actually achieved around the 70 to 100 hertz range, and that was at around 95 decibels, close to 95 decibels. And you can see how that same range had some of the most decay over time. Okay, then I actually took this snip and plugged it into AI. AI interpretation of the graph basically agrees with what we were just discussing, is that there is persistent energy in the 1 kilohertz and under range, particularly around 100 hertz and lower. And then it says that the red and yellow colors indicate prolonged decay, suggesting resonance or even room interactions causing energy to linger. Mostly going to be the speakers in this case. And then on the second bullet point, it just confirms that the peaks were most noticeable around 50 to 7 hertz, and then 200 to 300 shows the slower decay, likely due to cabinet resonance or room modes. Interesting choice of words here by AI, saying that these decays could contribute to boomy or muddy sound. Now let's look at the after dampening on the Room EQ wizard. So we can see here the decibel level around the 100 hertz range has actually gone down to about 87, and there is significantly less decay throughout on the lower frequencies. Looks like there's a little bit of a pickup in resonance, maybe around the 30 to 40 hertz range, but overall there's definite improvement. So let's just do a quick little before and after here. You can see the before again and then after. So there's a lot less resonance going on in the cabinets, and it's cleaned up quite a bit. So that's actually a really good improvement. Before and after, a lot less resonance. Alright, so what does AI have to say about this? Okay, looking at the AI results for the after plot, going to the second bullet point, the after plot shows a faster decay of energy across most frequencies, which is good confirmation. And going to the last sentence in that point, that the shift to more green and blue hues suggests the dampening did reduce lingering vibrations. So that's what we want to see. And regarding the low frequencies, the bass region shows a quicker drop off, indicating reduced cabinet resonance, likely due to the dampening. We know that because that's what we did. And this could result in tighter bass reproduction, which we have already discussed. So that's good confirmation there. In the mid-range, it does say that the decay is more uniform and faster with fewer sustained peaks, suggesting improved control over mid-range resonances. So again, this confirms why we've been able to experience so far cleaner separation in instruments and in vocals, and better refinement. Good confirmation with AI's results here. Okay, one more chart, just a snip rather, of what AI had to say about the dampening and lowering decibel level. If you remember, that was not something that I had expected to see, a lower decibel level after the dampening, but this was interesting. I thought you might want to check this out. But the butyl lining with the aluminum tape and the no-res foam absorb vibrational energy that would otherwise contribute to sound radiation. The Forte One's cabinet, designed with a horn-loaded system, relies on internal reflections and resonance to amplify output. Dampening reduces these reflections, effectively decreasing the energy available to drive the air and thus lower the overall sound pressure level. Just wanted to stop one quick point on that. So that point was confirmation to me of something that I had experienced a couple of years ago when it came to dampening a pair of Lascalas. Once I dampened the woofer area, you take the bottom off and then just not actually in the woofer horn itself, but just in the woofer, the cabinet housing, the tonal quality diminished to me personally rather than improving. And so I did take about 75 to 80% of the dampening out, and then after the fact it did tighten it up enough to where the tonal quality cleaned up a bit, but still maintained, I think, that design intended beautiful lush sound that those the horn-loaded woofers produce. So anytime you're listening to classical music or jazz on those speakers, the woodwinds and the pianos, the vocals are just beautiful. But apparently those speakers, the tone is dependent on the resonance within that woofer horn. So I just thought that was interesting how the dampening techniques are beneficial in some speakers, but not for others. So that's just an example of how these type techniques may be beneficial or they may not. So just wanted to mention that right quick. Just showing this slide one more time, but basically it just confirms that the dampening does lower the overall sound output, which lowering the overall sound output is not a bad thing because it's easily corrected just with increasing or turning that volume knob up a bit. So still get the improved sound quality overall, but you may have to turn up the volume just a smidgen, which is not a bad thing. All right, time for a quick wrap up. So today we looked at the data and saw where the vibration analysis tool and Room EQ Wizard waterfall charts do confirm noticeable vibration reductions throughout the cabinets in those Klipsch Fortes. And if you're looking at trying to improve your current system and thinking about speaker dampening, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please click the like and subscribe buttons, as that will help the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a great day. Take care.